I want to start out by mentioning my fabulous new necklace. It's actually costume jewelry that I got for $5 because I'm going to cosplay as Veronica Lodge from Riverdale later this year, and this is one of my couple of collars I'm buying to test out. Um, Tell me what you think. It's supposed to be pearls, but I think in this light it kind of looks like fake diamonds. Anyways, this is going to be a short review because I watched another film that I didn't like and I'm getting tired of not liking things. So I don't really want to talk about too much about it, but I'll point out some things that I enjoyed, point out some things I didn't like, let you make up your own minds. I will start this by saying that this is a film by Christopher Nolan, and I really have not cared for much of his filmography. I liked Memento when I saw it, but I haven't seen it in probably 15 years, so I don't know if I'd still like it. There's some things I watched when I was a teenager that I still love, and some things that I watched as a teenager, and I'm like, you were an idiot as a teenager, so I don't know. And I liked Inception when it came out, but I also saw that 7 years ago and haven't rewatched it since, so I don't know how much I liked it if I haven't felt compelled to rewatch it, you know? But I do remember and still love the scenes with Tom Hardy, so Tom Hardy for life, I guess. But the rest of his filmography, I'm not that big of a fan of. I did not even see Interstellar in theaters because I just didn't feel like I could say I was going to like it. I just could tell. And I liked the Joker from The Dark Knight a lot, and the rest of the Dark Knight trilogy I was not a fan of. So there you go. So I have some bias because I already don't particularly care for this filmmaker. Um, and I think he is a technically brilliant filmmaker. I think he does things with the camera that no one else is doing. And I know that I've seen this in like 70 millimeter and in IMAX probably I would have been like, whoa, from the visuals. But I need more than that in a film. And that's unfortunately for a lot of what I get from Nolan is that he makes beautiful, immersive experiences that leave me cold. And that's not everyone feels that way. Clearly, he's a very popular filmmaker. So, and I'm not saying like y'all are wrong. I'm just saying I'm not on the right wavelength for him as a filmmaker, I think. So, my other problem was going in. It's a war movie. I know there's going to probably be very few, if any, women, right? My problem is because there were women, and I'll explain. At one point, there are some nurses in a boat, in a destroyer that's going to get sunk. Spoiler alert, some destroyers get sunk. And then at one point, because this is the story of Dunkirk, and the story of Dunkirk, if you don't know it, there's all the men trapped on the beach, and the British civilians fleet came and took a lot of them home, right? They show at least two women. So the structure of this film follows, and it's structured all crazy because it's Nolan, so like you have to piece things together like a quilt. That's great. It's structured where you follow mostly one guy on the ground, two flyers, some admirals, a general guy or a colonel or something, and then one civilian boat. That's what you follow. By showing nurses in that destroyer for a second, and by showing those women civilians that came in and saved men's lives, you acknowledge that women were part of this story, but they weren't important enough to include in your ensemble cast. And that annoys me. Leave them out or don't have them or expand them. You know, even at least Pearl Harbor, not the best movie, but Pearl Harbor, a third of that movie is about the nurses because, spoiler alert, nurses were there the whole time. There's a lot of women who are left out of particularly World War II. Even the World War I movies made post-World War I included women. The Big Parade includes women. The Wings includes friggin' Clara Bow in boots driving a ambulance thing. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to include women in the story because they are part of that story. And case in point, I know that earlier this year, Their Finest was based on fiction, but it was based on there were real stories of women who went with their men to save these men, and thank goodness that we got at least one movie about that this year. But it's just unfortunate, I think, that we keep telling war stories and leaving women out, and I can't handle it anymore. I just can't handle it. Even the English Patient, like Hannah's a nurse, so I don't know. Um, I was not on the right level for this movie, and I did not enjoy it. And honestly, I would have liked to have just watched the 7-minute atonement, like uncut Dunkirk scene on loop for 2 hours. Had a nice score, and again, it's a beautifully made film. Beautifully made film. I just didn't enjoy it. But I also think I'm hitting, I did A Year with Women because I hit a point where movies were just not working for me. And I feel like I'm at that again. And contemporary cinema is just, I'm feeling frustrated. That said, I'm going to do another review where I talk about a documentary. And for the last about 3 years, 2 years, I guess, but even during A Year with Women, some of my favorite films have been documentaries in the last 3-4 years. There's just so many great documentaries coming out. And so many great documentaries about women and telling interesting women's stories that that's what I'm watching and enjoying the most in terms of like contemporary cinema. So this was Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. It was not for me.